My name is Amanda DuBois, and I'm a practicing divorce lawyer. Every day I work with people going through the divorce process at my office in Seattle, Washington. And I put together this series where I'm going to talk about issues regarding the divorce here in my kitchen. So we're trying to make it a little bit less scary than, serious divorce lawyer office, so that you can relate a little bit better and best understand what you need to do as you're going through the divorce process. So I have to begin every single one of these sessions reminding you that I can't be your lawyer and that I'm not intending to give you legal advice, because I don't know your situation and I don't know what's best for you. What I'm going to do is provide you with information to educate you so that you can educate yourself, so that you can empower yourself, so you can make the best possible decision you can in your particular divorce situation. And goodness knows there's all kinds of situations, from amicable to very high conflict. And I don't know exactly what situation you're in, and I don't know what's best for you. But I'm going to give you information as much as I can about the divorce process, sort of from an educational perspective. So this session is about creating a vision for your divorce. And I think this is a really important place to start this process, because I personally believe that sort of whatever we envision for ourselves in our life tends to set the tone and sets the pace and creates sort of like we're going to create our reality. And so because divorces can be, like I said, for anything from amicable to horribly high conflict, you get a little bit of a choice in this situation about how you want to be in a divorce. I completely understand that you'd have no control over your spouse, and if he's going to make this into World War III and you're going to be in the fight of your life, then you don't necessarily get to set the kind of divorce you're going to have, but you still do get to decide who you're going to be in this process. So it's easy to think that you don't have any say-so about how the process is going to go, but I'm not sure I believe that. I believe that you can decide how you're going to be and the person that you're going to be. So here you're going to be going into, or you're already into, an incredibly emotional experience. The divorce process is scary, no question about it. Filing for divorce is scary. Understanding your divorce rights is confusing. But while you're in this horrible state of emotional upheaval, you also somehow have to pull your best self together and get some business sense going, because you're going to make decisions over the next many months here. It's going to affect you for the rest of your life, and more importantly, probably going to affect your children for the rest of their lives. So while you're going through this emotional upheaval, you also have to somehow find a way to get some business sense about you and to decide what kind of a person you're going to be in this process. So one way of doing this that I found is really helpful for my clients is to start thinking about who you want to be, or how do you see yourself on the day you get your divorce. So I would say we have a divorce planner available for you, and in the beginning you'll see these various sections. And one of the sections is going to say, who am I going to be on the day of my divorce? So take a minute and just think about that. How do you want it to look? Do you want to feel relieved? Do you want to feel angry? Do you want to feel scared? Do you want to feel liberated or empowered? What will you do on that day? Who are you going to be with? Are you going to celebrate? Are you going to be sad? How is it going to look? Think of the people that you would want to have around you on the day that you finally get your divorce. And what future are you going to be creating for yourself at that point in time? So take some time and think about that and write that down. What do I want my life to look like 1 year from the day I get my divorce? And be specific. Where do I want to live? You might not know exactly the city or town that you want to live in, but you might have an idea about the kind of house or home or apartment or condo you want to have. Be really specific. What do you want that to look like? Where are your kids going to be? What school are they going to be in? Where are you going to be working? Are you going to be in your same job? Or are you going to transform and have some fabulous new job? Are you going to be training? Are you going to be in school? Have you always wanted to get a new career? Is there something that you've always wanted to do? Think about that stuff, and think about a year from the day I get my divorce, what is my life going to look like? Who are going to be my friends? Am I still going to be friends with the people that have been friends with us when we were a couple? Am I going to have new friends? Am I going to have a relationship? That's really hard to think about, I know right now, because the last thing you probably think you ever want to do is get in another romantic relationship, but actually people do, believe it or not. So do you want to have a relationship? And even things like, what's your body going to look like? Are you going to lose weight? Are you going to be healthy? Are you going to be strong and fit? What kind of parent are you going to be? Here's one. What's your relationship with your spouse going to be like at that point? If you've got children, you're still going to be in some kind of a relationship with this guy. So what's that going to look like, and how do you want that to be? Imagine yourself going to your kid's choir concert or soccer game 1 year from the day that you get divorced. You're going to be sitting with your ex? You're going to be saying, I'm not going to the soccer game if he's going to be there? Are you going to be civil? Is he going to sit over on his side with his friends and you're going to be with your friends, and you're both going to be sort of happily or contentedly going along with your lives? You're going to be afraid to see him? Think about that. Be specific and think about the emotions that you're going to feel when that happens. And you get to choose how you want it to be. So how do you want it to be? And after you do the 1 year, go ahead and do 5 years. What's it going to look like in 5 years? What's it going to be like when you're at your kid's graduation? Or what's your career going to look like in 5 years? Where are you going to be living? What's going to be your financial situation? I think it's really helpful to do that, because I believe that if we can get a vision in our mind about how we want our life to look, it's a lot easier to hold to that vision when we're going through this really rocky period called the divorce process. Because at the end of the day, this process is going to take, however many months it's going to take, 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year. But you've got a whole lot of long time after that. And a lot of people let the divorce process sort of inform and set the tone for the rest of their life. And especially if you've got kids and you've got to still be in some sort of a relationship with this guy who's the father of your children, you need to think a lot about that. So take the time in your divorce planner and really come up with what is your vision for these various times of after you get divorced. Then you've got sort of a vision for what it's going to look like here, and it changes a little bit the way that you proceed through the process. So one question that you might ask yourself, and it's a section here in the divorce planner, is who do I want to be and who am I? You might want to talk to your friends about that. We talked in the first session about putting together a divorce team, and I'm going to talk about that real briefly here. When you're in the divorce process, you need a support team. You need to have people that, once you come up with this vision, you're going to share it with them, and you need them to hold you to that. So if you say, this is who I want to be in a year, I want to be able to go to the soccer game with my ex and not feel horrible and scared, then when you're making a decision back here about how you're going to be in your divorce, you want your team to kind of remind you that this is where you're headed, and is this the best choice that you're making today to get you where you want to be then?